All right, DC fans, here we go. DCU Year 1 is complete. Creature Commando, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2 have all come and they've all gone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you happy with Year 1? Are you looking forward to Year 2? What have you liked? What have you disliked? And what grade would you give it? A, B, C, D, F? How would you grade Year 1 of the DCU? But we know Year 2 is going to pick up with Lanterns right away, and that is going to open the floodgates for this big storyline that James Gunn is creating in the DCU and Salvation. Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel and a fan of the DCU, hit that subscribe button. I talk about it and discuss it with you all the time right here on the channel. And like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about Year 1 of the DCU. Were you happy with it? What are you looking forward to? And what do you think is going to come up with Lanterns? I have a few ideas of Lanterns, how they're going to use it, and where we're going to go. But to get to Lanterns, we've got to just bring up that one elephant in the room that James Gunn continues to talk about, and that is every story in the DCU is going to be an individual story. There's going to be an overarching story, of course, but each story is going to be individual. And I think, look, we're going to talk about Peacemaker a little bit because we're going to have to, and I think this is going to be a topic of conversation until the next few projects of the DCU come to fruition and we see them, and that is Creature Commando, Superman, and Peacemaker all, I believe, live in their own little bubble and work as solo efforts. Peacemaker, I think, still works better with Season 1. And we could talk about that ending in the finale and how it leads into Salvation. A lot of people saying, I don't want to watch a show that just sets up something. I'm sick of that. And I've got to be completely honest with you. While, of course, it does set something up, it clearly does that. I'm not going to say it doesn't do that. That's dumb. And look, I'm not trying to change your opinion of it. I'm giving you my perspective of it, and let me know yours in the comments. My perspective, though, is that it wrapped up the season. The season started with the 11th Street kids not knowing who they were and trying to find themselves, and Peacemaker wanted to be a hero and all of that jazz. And it ended with them figuring it all out. Now, there's that little PS at the end where, of course, Rick Flag Sr. kidnaps Peacemaker and throws him in Salvation and says, you sign the papers, I got you there. And that's obviously a setup for future DCU stories. But the way I look at it is Peacemaker did wrap up. It left you with a cliffhanger, yes. But I view this as when you're a kid or an adult, depending on what you get, is when you get action figures and they come with a piece of a larger action figure to build. Like you're like, oh, look at my new Wolverine figure, and it comes with a Sentinel leg. That's kind of how I'm viewing the DCU right now. So you buy your Wolverine, your Storm figure, whatever you get, and then you get the head of a Sentinel, you get the leg of a Sentinel, the arm, and when you get all the set, you put it all together and you've got this massive Sentinel figure that you can play with your little 3 3/4 action figures or whatever they are. That's how I'm viewing the DCU right now. Is you've got Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker, which all work on their own, but they come with that big leg of a Sentinel for you to play with. That's how I'm viewing it. Now, it doesn't work for everybody. I'm not trying to change your opinion, but that's how I view it. I think the storylines that they've done in each one have worked. Whether you like it or not, that's another story altogether. But I think they have kind of concluded. Like I think Peacemaker still kind of concluded its thing. It gave you the little PS at the end. And, you know, the finale, I like the finale, but it definitely could have used 1 or 2 or 7 less musical segments in it. But I still think it ended the season. It was still a satisfactory ending. Well, it was underwhelming satisfactory ending to the season, I would say, with the PS at the end. I don't view the PS as the leg. I view the PS as just like a PS of a story. And I know what you did last summer when the killer jumps through the shower at Julie James. It's like a little tease. It's, you know, the killer comes back for one last scare. That's kind of what the Peacemaker finale is. It's like Peacemaker is taking cliffhanger. Now, it does suck that there's not a season 3 when you have a cliffhanger. It's weird. It's a weird choice. I'll say that. It definitely is a weird choice, but that's the way I'm viewing it. So that takes us into Lanterns. So Lanterns is going to stand on its own. And also Lanterns now, Lanterns, Supergirl, and Clayface, all of next year are all projects that James Gunn is overseeing with Peter Safran, and they're not being written or directed by James Gunn. He has said that, you know, he's being very strict on the script, that the directors have to pay very close attention to the script. He's being very careful of that and cognizant of that. He respects the writers of these too much, and he wants to see what they've written on the screen. That's what he wants, and that's fair, and it's his job. He's overseeing a studio, and that's what it is. But Lanterns is the first DCU project out of the gate without James Gunn writing or directing. Obviously, like I said, he'll be overseeing it, but he's not writing or directing. And you look at it, and it's a murder mystery, true detective with cosmic entities, blah, 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 blah. and it's going to be grounded and all this stuff. And everyone says it's wild, it's going to be really good. And actually, HBO believes that this could be as good and as like award hungry as the Penguin, which really excites me. I love the Penguin. I don't know what he means by that. Like, it's obviously a different vibe altogether, but I'm really excited for it. I'll get excited for anything I want to get excited for. That's my MO in this. Look, now one still that we've seen looks great, I guess. I don't know. We haven't seen anything. If I see a trailer and it looks terrible, whatever. But right now, I think this is exciting. But the question is, how does this connect to Salvation? Because James Gunn has been saying lately that Lanterns is heavily involved in the Salvation storyline. But he's also saying that all these stories have to be one-offs, right? They have to be isolated stories that you don't need to watch Peacemaker to understand Lanterns. You don't need to watch Creature Commandos to understand Lanterns. You don't have to watch Superman to understand Creature Commandos to understand Peacemaker. And that's an important detail. And I think, honestly, I've talked to people who have only watched Peacemaker and have only watched Superman and they won't watch anything else. They haven't had any questions and don't really care. If Rick Flag Sr. comes in, they just accept Rick Flag Sr. for who he is. And I think they did a good job with his backstory. They lucked. I mean, James Gunn, he had the Rick Flag Jr. thing to really build on in Peacemaker, which affects Peacemaker because it is kind of a direct sequel-ish to the Suicide Squad. So it works out, and it works in his favor in that capacity. Lanterns doesn't have any of that. It has Guy Gardner, obviously, and Guy Gardner is going to be a part of it. We don't know what. We know that he swears a lot in it. That's all we really know. But he's going to be a part of it. So what's going to happen here? And I think Guy Gardner, I think the Salvation aspect of it, Guy Gardner and a little bit more have a lot to do with it. And why I say Guy Gardner is because he's part of the Justice Gang. And I'm not sure these other Lanterns are going to be too fond of that, but he's part of this Justice Gang. And I think Hawkgirl is in deep doo-doo. I've said this for a while now. James Gunn has said she's going to have big ramifications for what she does at the end of Superman.
Girl, pretty tough. She's not nice. She executes a world leader. Probably not the best choice in that situation. Might have ramifications outside of this film.
And I really believe that is going to be her one-way ticket to Salvation. And Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific possibly, but Guy Gardner is going to be, he's very close with Hawkgirl, obviously, and there's going to be like a, hey, she hasn't shown up in a couple of days. What's going on? That could be a tipping point for her. We're going to see some of that. She might be the one that rescues Peacemaker. But again, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on any of that. Hawkgirl is going to be a big catalyst in getting us more to Salvation, getting the Superman fans, the Superman viewers into Salvation, opening doorways, because we know Man of Tomorrow is going to deal a lot with Salvation, and then as a direct sequel to well, I guess he's not calling it a sequel, but it's a sequel to Man of Tomorrow, and Peacemaker Season 2 is a prequel to Man of Tomorrow, I suppose. But Lanterns is going to be its own story, the murder mystery, and I think within that murder mystery, there's going to be some kind of cosmic parasite that's going to be at the forefront of this murder mystery, but they're not like right away. When I say forefront, I mean it's going to be the back door we're going to get to, and they're going to be like, oh, a cosmic thing. I think there's going to be a revelation as it goes on, and it's not going to be, hey, Salvation is where metahumans are going. I don't think it's going to be we're looking for disappearing metahumans. They've said it's a murder mystery. So what's the murder? What's the mystery? Has a metahuman be murdered? Or have they found some fragments from some kind of cosmic parasite that's murdered some kind of metahuman and something is going on beyond what they know? So first, in this show, we'll have the Green Lantern Corps find the body. There is a murder going on and they find this body and they have to investigate what's going on in the murder. That is not even speculation. That's just fact. But then they find out that the body emits a strange quantum radiation signature matching the QUC tech we saw in Peacemaker and somewhat in Superman, but in Peacemaker mostly. And again, you don't have to watch Peacemaker to know what's going on because they'll just say, oh, there's some radiation thing. And then fans of Peacemaker will be like, oh, yeah, that's the QUC. And new fans will get to know what it is and slowly understand what the QUC is all about. Then the murder scenes can show burnt matter unlike anything from this universe, giving Hal and John their first clue that something off-world and ancient is bleeding through reality. Argus will try to cover all of this up, citing national security, meaning Rick Flag Sr. and Salvation Project are already in the background. So you don't even have to know. They don't have to be in the show. Right? You just have to understand that the head of Argus, that all of this stuff is national security is going on. Fans of Peacemaker and Superman will know that it's Rick Flag Sr. Other fans, they don't need to know. They don't have to know. You just know that is something that's going on. And that brings us to the Salvation connection itself. Hal Jordan finds an encrypted Argus files with coordinates tied to the QUC and metahuman disappearances. These missing metas were all relocated to Salvation, a supposed off-world rehabilitation site. When Lanterns track the quantum signature, they discover Salvation is not just a barren wasteland, it's radiating life, or something pretending to be alive. Here, Salvation Run, the comic arc, becomes your thematic backbone. In the comics, villains were dumped on another planet that turned out to be a testing ground for apocalyptic tech. Gunn could reimagine that, and he said he will. Heroes, villains, and metahumans alike are being unknowingly sent to a terraforming world linked to Apokolips. And this is where the DCU just kicks into high gear. The hidden hand, Apokolips embedded in Argus. This is where we connect Argus Salvation and the New Gods. We know that Argus at this point is already funded by Luthor Corp and is essentially just a branch of Luthor Corp at this time now. And they could be unknowingly influenced by Apokolipsian agents. These agents could be Darkseid or his proxies working through human intermediaries. They manipulate Argus into opening QUC gates to specific coordinates, not realizing they're punching holes in reality to Apokolips. The metas sent through Salvation are actually being converted into Parademons, experimental fusion of metahuman DNA and New Gods tech. Peacemaker, Hot Girl, not gonna work like that, but still, the idea is there. And then the revelation, when the Lanterns see this war coming, this is probably the ending. The PS, this is Peacemaker being taken to Salvation. This show's version of that. When Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan finally discover Salvation and look into it, they discover ruins of New God Outpost, buried beneath the surface, half-formed parademons crawling out of cocoons, fragments of motherbox circuitry integrated into the environment itself. Salvation isn't a prison, it's a breeding ground. Hal realizes that the quantum unfolding Argus used to open the portal isn't new tech, it's reverse engineered from a motherbox. That means Earth has already been compromised. And this is where this show can lead right into Man of Tomorrow, but still be solo. Lex Luthor has been funding parts of Argus and QUC project for security applications. When Lanterns exposes the truth, Lex pivots, claiming he's the only one who can protect Earth from cosmic invasion. Superman becomes publicly associated with aliens and untrustworthy gods, which Lex uses to rally public fear. This positions Man of Tomorrow as both a response to the Lanterns' fallout and a setup for an eventual Apokolips War scale event. And then we have the long game, Gods and Monsters, Chapter 1. Peacemaker introduced the QUC Salvation concept. Lanterns turns that into the discovery of a secret cosmic genocide program. Man of Tomorrow shows the political and human fallout of that discovery. Supergirl then pushes it further, showing how the New Gods view Kryptonians as false gods, leading to Darkseid's entrance later. Earth is under divine observation, its institutions corrupted by New Gods tech, and the Lanterns are the only ones who saw it coming. That's how I think it could all play out, which gives you the Lantern show on its own, but leads you right into Man of Tomorrow. You have this murder mystery, which becomes cosmic, which becomes, oh, what's going to happen? So they're going to have to solve this murder for it to be satisfactory, obviously, and I think they will unless there's more seasons planned and they keep this thread going. But it sounds like we're going right into Man of Tomorrow with this, and that's how I suspect we're going to get there. I think Darkseid, I think Darkseid, I think New Gods is the name of the game here. I mean, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, obviously it can mean many different things, and we all thought Brainiac and James Gunn. I thought he might be pulling the rug from under us, and he might not be. It might still be Brainiac, but right now it seems more likely that it's New Gods. He said he's not going to use a lot of the Salvation Run comics, right? Obviously, it's not going to be Lex and Joker, all that stuff going on in there, but he's going to use it as the backbone. He chose it for a purpose, for the idea of salvation. The idea comes with New God. It comes with things around it that I think you utilize, and beasts and whatnot. He's kind of alluded to that too. We're going to see some of that. So I can't wait to see where we're going and what he's going to give to us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Am I on target or way off target? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. The like button, subscribe button. Until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.